so I don't want an epidural, or I don't think I want an epidural, but I'm not sure because I haven't experienced it yet, or I don't know what's gonna happen or how the birth is gonna go, but I don't think I want one, so what do I do? This is a question that I get a lot from the moms that I work with, the expecting parents and couples that maybe have some feeling like doing the most common pain management technique in labor, an epidural, isn't necessarily for them, or the downsides don't feel good, but they're not exactly sure how to prepare accordingly for a birth that's totally unmedicated. Not sure how to prepare for all of the potential of discomfort or pain or kind of the journey that's going to happen during a birth experience. So to anyone who has that experience and to anyone who's asked that question to themselves or to someone in their life, here is a doula's tips for getting yourself ready for an unmedicated birth. Number one, get into the mindset. Taking the epidural off the table is something that is automatically going to put it in a different sort of category rather than the mindset of, oh, I'll just wait and see, or oh, I'm not sure. Saying an epidural is not something that's an option for me really in some ways gives your willpower, gives your decision-making mindset skills. It gives them some peace and quiet, gives them some rest, because it's not a debate of should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I. It's just simply a, that's not for me. Much in the same way of something that we've been in the practice of during pregnancy of, if you are instructed by your doctor not to eat sushi or drink alcohol, it's not like every time you pass a sushi restaurant, you're like, ooh, should I? Maybe I shouldn't. Should I? You're like, oh, I can't do that right now. And, come labor and delivery, I'll have my first meal of sushi. You just take it off the table and the decision-making comes off. And so too with someone who wants to, get fit and go to a workout, or wants to maybe change their way of eating. If they say, oh, I'll keep ice cream in the fridge and I'll just decide after dinner if I'm gonna actually have it or not. Like, it's just, you're setting yourself up for a lot of stress, challenge, and potentially failure to achieve the intention you have. So number one, mindset. Take it off the table, put it in a category outside, literally imagining like it's not even an option for me. It's not even available where I'm gonna be birthing. So that's one thing. But the other flip side of that mindset is really being in the practice in the months and weeks and days leading up to the birth of reinforcing the message that I can do this unmedicated. No matter how hard it's going to be, no matter what happens, no matter what twists and turns, I am ready for this. My body is ready for this, and I am a powerful and strong and open and fill in the blank birthing mother to be, and I got this. I can do this. I believe in my body, in my baby, and myself. So really focusing on that positive belief, and like every single day, the first thought you have in the morning, throughout the day, just remembering that I am strong and I can do this, and really cultivating a mindset of total certainty and faith in yourself. Because this is something that many of my clients, and when I was preparing for my birth, myself included, found was this sense of uncertainty of like, can I do it? I think I can do it, but like, can I do it? And maybe some fear or hesitation or doubt. And those are the exact thoughts that present cracks in this beautiful pottery of the labor and delivery experience, and we don't want those cracks to be there. So they're naturally going to be within our body because we've probably felt them for a long time, the sense of uncertainty or doubt. But if we can kind of use the practice of belief and certainty and trust and love in ourselves as kind of the golden shellac that can kind of fill the cracks, we're going to have a much stronger experience and set ourselves up for kind of set ourselves up for success. And what can be really helpful for that mindset work is picking a mantra or a word that you're constantly coming back to. So for me, I really found it helpful to take my labor and delivery one contraction at a time, because In my previous, my high school athletic days, I was a cross country runner, and long races would really stress me out and intimidate me. And my mind would go all sorts of crazy when I would be at the start of the race or the first mile, thinking how much more I had to go. But luckily, we had mile and half mile markers in a lot of the races. And so all I would focus on is getting to that next mile marker, getting to that next half mile marker, and just letting myself go in these little bits and thinking only just a little bit ahead. And that's what got me through my races. And so I was like, that's going to get me through my labors. One contraction at a time. And the mantra that I chose to kind of match that mindset is that I can do anything for a little bit of time. I can do anything for a little bit of time. My contractions ended up being around a minute on average. And so I shifted to, I can do anything for 1 minute. I can do anything for 1 minute. Get through the contraction, then I'd have a nice break. I could relax, recover, and get ready for that next 1 minute, that next 1 half mile marker. And the one more I want to share mantra that I really love and worked with a lot during, especially my second labor and delivery, was each surge. That's using hypnobirthing vocabulary, but each surge or each contraction brings my baby a little closer to me. And for me, having pain with a purpose made it totally manageable. Pain with no end in sight. Like at the end of my first pregnancy, I had sciatica for a few weeks, and that was absolute torture because it was like, what is the point of this? I'm in so much pain. It was agonizing. It was suffering. It was terrible. But the pain or the discomfort of labor that I experienced was far more manageable because of my mindset around every contraction, every surge brings my baby closer to me. It's leading to this outcome, and there's an end in sight. Okay, the other sort of practice, number 2, focus that we need to do besides the mindset, or in addition to the mindset, is to practice other comfort measures. Because if you think about it, an epidural really is one tool in your entire toolbox of labor and delivery success tools. And if we don't get to know how to use and practice the other tools, it can feel really intimidating to feel like we're going in with just like, what's gonna happen? So other tools that we can put in that toolbox include different types of breath work. One of the breath practices that I really, really love to do with my clients is to take very slow, deep 5-count breaths. So breathing in for 5 and breathing out for 5. And for partners, or if there's a doula there, they can actually count you through that breath, inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then out accordingly, back and forth for all of the duration of the contractions. Because focusing on the number 1, 2, 3 can be a nice distraction for the mind from what's happening in the body. Other sorts of breath that I really love are a breath that actually includes vibration or sound. So as the inhale comes in, the body fills up, and then on the exhale, making either a humming sound like or audibly exhaling, and using the sound to really like bring that baby down and to allow for that release of all of the tension that might be experienced in the body. So really using breath is a great tool. Another tool that can be practiced is counter pressure or massage. This is going to be something that requires either a partner or a doula or a friend who's going to be at the labor and delivery, but having them practice, for example, if you're on all fours, hands and knees on all fours, for example, having them use their hands to press your hips towards one another, or to go at the base of your sits bones and gently press upwards, or to do gentle, using your fingers, gentle massage on the lower back or on the shoulders. This is another topic altogether I can really get into more deeply, but practicing that and seeing what feels good and seeing what your body responds to and seeing that the partner or doula feels comfortable working on the human body with touch. This is something that will come labor set you guys up just to go into action when it's needed or benefited. And then another practice would be to work with something like a birth ball, which is like a big yoga ball, and you can sit on that and sway your hips, do figure eights, kind of the infinity loop with your hips. You can practice leaning on the birth ball, try opening the legs, closing the legs, and moving around. Those are things that, again, if you do them in advance, it becomes like clockwork on the day of labor and delivery. Now, in my doula handbook, I have a ton more, but for the sake of time, those are just a couple for you to kind of think about and to consider. And then the final thing I want to bring forward as a really important strategy, if you do not want to have an epidural, is to get a doula. A doula is a trained individual who provides continuous emotional and physical support for the entirety of labor and delivery. A doula really is kind of like a fairy godmother who's trained in successfully supporting the mother through her birth experience. And she has all sorts of gizmos and gadgets and practices and offerings that she can bring forward that are going to make the mom feel supported, feel confident, feel comfortable. She's also an advocate for any mom within whatever setting she chooses to birth in. Hospitals are notorious, at least in the Western medical system, for trying to push epidurals, trying to push intervention, trying to push induction drugs, etc. And having a doula who can say no on your behalf means that you can keep your guard down and focus on doing what you need to do, which is experience your labor and bring your baby down and out. If a doula isn't available in your area, or you don't feel like you want to have a second person, if you also have a partner present at your birth, which again, please contact me with questions and we can talk through it, because it's one of the things I recommend beyond anything else for any sort of birthing experience. But if you don't feel like it sits right with you, making sure that whoever is at your birth is absolutely on board with your unmedicated birth vision and has with them the confidence as well as tools and practices that they can do to show up and to support you as you go through this journey. And it really is a journey. So those are the things that I really recommend if you are thinking an unmedicated birth might or is the right choice for you. And please know that I am here as your virtual doula, no matter where you are in the world, whether we're in the same time zone or in person, so I could be present for your birth, or whether you're seeking some support in the birth and delivery preparation. This is something that I'm here for you. And I can also share referrals for networks of support people that are local to you as well. So thank you for tuning in, for being open to this practice. And I can't wait to hear if you're open to sharing how those offerings resonate with you.